Dad Quiet Revenge.
You're not needed anymore, Howard. Get out. My daughter-in-law Beverly stood there with that cold smile, pointing at the pile of my belongings she'd dumped on the street. That's when I knew 15 years of paying their bills was about to pay off in ways they never expected. The name's Howard Patterson, 60 years old, and I spent 35 years supervising factory operations before taking early retirement. What I'm about to tell you will make you think twice about who you trust with your life savings. But let me back up to how I got to that moment standing on my own street looking at my entire life scattered like garbage. I'd been up at Lucky Peak for 4 days, fishing and trying to clear my head. The drive back to Boise always relaxed me, but that Tuesday afternoon in May felt different. Maybe it was the way the clouds hung low over the valley, or how empty the streets seemed for rush hour. Something was off. My pickup truck turned onto Maple Street, and that's when I saw it. A mountain of belongings piled beside the dumpster like someone was having the world's saddest yard sale. Cardboard boxes torn open, contents spilling onto the pavement, clothes, books, kitchen stuff, all of it just sitting there in the late afternoon sun. I slowed down, squinting through the windshield. Wait a minute. Those boxes looked familiar. I pulled into the driveway and cut the engine. The first thing I noticed was my fishing tackle box, the green metal one I'd had for 20 years, sitting upside down with lures scattered around it like confetti. Next to it was our wedding photo from 42 years ago, the glass cracked right across Dolores's face. The silver frame was dented, dirt smeared across the glass. My hands started shaking before my brain caught up. These weren't just any belongings. These were my belongings. Every single item I could see belonged to me. I climbed out of the truck, my legs feeling unsteady. The afternoon air carried the smell of rain coming mixed with something else, that musty smell of clothes that had been sitting outside too long. My work boots crunched on loose gravel as I walked toward the pile. There was my anniversary watch, the Timex that Dolores had saved up 3 months to buy me back in 1987. It was lying face down in a puddle of muddy water, the leather band soaked through and probably ruined forever. I picked it up with trembling fingers, water dripping between my knuckles. My toolbox was there too, the red Craftsman that had been with me through every home repair job for the past 15 years. The lid was open, and my socket wrenches were scattered everywhere, mixing with kitchen utensils and old photographs that meant the world to me. Someone had taken everything I owned and thrown it away like actual trash. The boxes told their own story, hastily packed, roughly handled, torn at the corners where they'd been dragged across concrete. I could see my name written on one side in Dolores' careful handwriting from our last move. The ink had started to run in the dampness, making my own name look like a mistake somebody was trying to erase. I stood there trying to make sense of it. This had to be some kind of mix-up. Maybe the city had the wrong address. Maybe there'd been a break-in, and the thieves just dumped everything outside. There had to be a logical explanation, but deep down, I already knew better. I walked toward the front door, stepping carefully around more scattered belongings. Each step felt deliberate now, like I was walking toward something I didn't want to face but couldn't avoid. The key went into the lock just like it had thousands of times before. But when I tried to turn it, nothing happened. I wiggled it back and forth, applied more pressure, tried jiggling the handle. The lock wouldn't budge. They'd changed the locks on my own house. While I was gone fishing for 4 days, someone had changed the locks and thrown all my stuff in the street. My phone was already in my hand before I realized I was reaching for it. Curtis first. My son would explain this mess. He had to know what was going on. The phone rang 3 times before going to voicemail. His voice sounded cheerful and professional. "You've reached Curtis Patterson. Leave a message and I'll get back to you, Curtis. It's Dad. I just got back from Lucky Peak and all my stuff is on the street. Someone changed the locks on the house. What the hell is going on here? Call me back right away." I tried Beverly next, even though talking to my daughter-in-law usually felt like trying to have a conversation with a rattlesnake. Same thing, straight to voicemail. Her message was shorter and crisper. "Leave a message. Beverly, it's Howard. I need to know what happened while I was gone. My belongings are in the street and I can't get into the house. Call me back immediately." I stood there on my own front porch, locked out like some kind of stranger, and felt something cold settle in my chest. This wasn't random. This wasn't some mistake or emergency repair situation. Somebody had planned this. Somebody had waited for me to leave town, then systematically erased me from the place I'd called home for 15 years. The afternoon was getting later, and I needed answers. I walked across the yard to Vernon's place. If anybody had seen what happened, it would be Vernon. The man was retired and spent most of his time keeping track of neighborhood activity from his front window. Nothing got past Vernon. I knocked on his door, 3 firm raps that echoed down the quiet street. I could hear footsteps inside, slow and careful, then the deadbolt turning. The door opened just wide enough for Vernon's weathered face to appear. His eyes immediately darted past me toward the pile of my belongings, then back to my face. He looked uncomfortable, like someone who'd been hoping this conversation wouldn't happen. "Vernon, I just got back from fishing and found all my stuff dumped in the street. The locks on my house have been changed. Do you know what happened here?" He shifted from foot to foot, not quite meeting my eyes. "Sorry, Howard. I haven't really been paying attention. Maybe it's some kind of mistake? I gestured toward the debris field that used to be my life, Vernon. That's 40 years of my possessions sitting next to the garbage. Someone had to pack all that up and haul it out there. You didn't see anything?" His gaze flickered away, focusing on something behind my shoulder. "I've been busy with my garden the past few days. Spring planting. Didn't really notice what was going on over at your place." The lie was so obvious it was almost insulting. Vernon had been retired for 6 years and positioned himself at that front window like it was his job. He watched every delivery truck, every visitor, every dog walker that came down this street. He absolutely knew what had happened. "Look," he said, clearly wanting to end this conversation. "If you need to use my phone or want to wait inside while you figure things out, you're welcome to." "Thanks, but I'll manage." He nodded quickly, obviously relieved. "Well, I hope you get it all sorted out." The door closed with a soft click that somehow sounded final. Even Vernon, who'd borrowed my power tools and shared beers with me on summer evenings, was pretending he didn't know anything. Whatever had happened here, the whole neighborhood was either in on it or too scared to get involved. I walked back to my belongings and found an old aluminum lawn chair that was still in one piece. I set it up next to the biggest pile of boxes and sat down to wait. If Curtis and Beverly weren't answering their phones, I'd wait right here until they came home. They were going to have to face me eventually, and when they did, somebody better have a damn good explanation for this mess. I sat in that lawn chair for 4 hours, watching my life scattered across the pavement like a crime scene. Some things could be salvaged, clothes that just needed washing, books that had only gotten damp around the edges, but other stuff was ruined beyond repair. My anniversary watch was definitely gone, the face clouded up with moisture, and the hands frozen at 2:17. The sun was getting lower when I finally heard a car turn onto our street. Honda Civic Silver, the one I'd helped Curtis buy 3 years ago when his old truck finally gave up. The headlights swept across the pile of my belongings as Beverly pulled into the driveway, lighting up the whole mess like she was putting on some kind of show. I stood up from the lawn chair, my joints protesting after sitting in one position for so long finally. Someone who could explain what the hell was going on here. Curtis got out of the passenger side, moving slow and careful like a man walking to his own execution. He looked older than his 42 years, shoulders hunched under some kind of weight I couldn't identify. Beverly climbed out of the driver's side with her usual sharp efficiency. Every blonde hair still perfectly in place despite whatever kind of day she'd had. "Curtis, Beverly, thank God you're here." I walked toward them, gesturing at the scattered mess. "What happened? Why is all my stuff on the street?" "I can't get into the house. Someone changed the locks while I was fishing." Beverly didn't even slow down. She walked right past me like I was invisible, heading for the trunk to pull out grocery bags with quick, angry movements. When she finally looked at me, her expression could have frozen water. "Because you're no longer needed here, Howard." Those words hit me like a punch to the gut. I actually took a step backward, blinking hard. "What do you mean, not needed? This is my home. I live here." "Lived," she corrected, slamming the trunk shut with more force than necessary. "Past tense. The mortgage is paid off now. Your job here is done. Take your junk and get out my job." Like I was some kind of hired hand instead of family. "Beverly, I don't understand what you're talking about. This is my house. I've been paying the mortgage for 15 years, paying for groceries, utilities, repairs, everything." Her smile was sharp enough to cut glass, and we appreciate that. "Really, we do. You paid it off just like you were supposed to. Mission accomplished, but we don't need you anymore." I turned to Curtis, desperate for some kind of sanity in this madness. "Son, what is she talking about? Tell me what's going on here." Curtis wouldn't meet my eyes. He stood there staring at the ground with his hands jammed deep in his pockets like a guilty kid who'd been caught stealing candy. "Sorry, Dad," he mumbled, so quiet I could barely hear him. "We tried to make it work, but what?" I reached toward him and he actually flinched away from my hand. "Curtis, look at me. I'm your father. I've lived in this house for 15 years. I pay for everything around here. This is my home." Beverly laughed, a sound like breaking dishes. "Your home, Howard? You were a tenant. A very useful tenant who paid all our bills and never asked for anything in return. But tenants get evicted when they're no longer convenient." The cruelty of it knocked the breath right out of me. I looked back and forth between them, my son avoiding my gaze like I was some kind of stranger, my daughter-in-law standing there with obvious satisfaction written all over her face. The street light was casting harsh shadows that made them look like people I'd never seen before. "I helped you buy this house," I said slowly, making sure every word was clear. "When you couldn't qualify for the mortgage on your own, I co-signed in the papers. When you couldn't make the payments, I covered them. When you needed money for Curtis's car, for Beverly's dental work, for the new roof, I paid for all of it. Everything I had, I gave to this family and we're grateful," Beverly said in that fake sweet voice she used with telemarketers. "Really, we are? But gratitude doesn't mean we have to house you forever. You're getting old, Howard. You take up space. You track mud through my clean kitchen. You fall asleep in front of the TV with the volume too loud. We want our privacy back." Curtis shifted uncomfortably, but didn't say a word. My own son standing there while his wife tore apart our family with surgical precision. The boy I'd taught to throw a baseball, helped with his homework every night, put through technical school so he could have a better life than I'd had. Now he was nothing but a silent accomplice in my exile. Where am I supposed to go? The question came out smaller than I intended, with a vulnerability that made me hate myself for showing it. "That's not our problem anymore." Beverly headed toward the front door with her grocery bags. "You're a grown man. You'll figure something out." "Curtis." I put every ounce of fatherly authority I had left into his name. He looked up for just a second, and what I saw in his eyes was worse than anger or hatred. It was complete indifference, like I was already dead and buried, and he was just waiting for me to realize it. "The locks are changed," Beverly called over her shoulder. "Don't try to get in. I'll call the police if you make me." The front door opened and closed behind them, leaving me standing alone under the streetlight with 40 years of my life scattered around my feet. The porch light came on for about 10 seconds, then went dark again. Message received. I stood there for a long time, processing what had just happened. 42 years of being a father erased. 15 years of generosity forgotten. A lifetime of love and sacrifice dismissed like an overdue bill. But underneath the hurt, something else was growing. Something harder and colder than the evening air settling over Boise. They thought they could use me up and throw me away like garbage. They thought they could steal everything I'd worked for and lock me out of my own life. They were about to learn how wrong they were. That night, I stayed at the Budget Inn off the interstate. $38 for a room that smelled like industrial carpet cleaner and broken dreams, but it was clean and quiet and gave me space to think. I'd loaded the most important stuff into my truck: clothes, tools, papers, and the wedding photo with Dolores's cracked face smiling up at me from the passenger seat. The next morning, I was sitting in attorney Eugene Walsh's office on State Street with a manila folder full of documents. 15 years of paperwork, all organized the way a factory supervisor learns to keep things: property deeds, mortgage statements, payment records, insurance policies, tax receipts. Everything in chronological order. Eugene was a compact man in his 50s who wore weekend clothes but kept his professional manner. He spread my documents across his desk like he was working a puzzle, examining each page with the kind of attention to detail I recognized from my own work. "Tell me about the situation first," he said. "Then we'll see what the paperwork says." I explained the basics without getting emotional about it. 15 years of mortgage payments, helping Curtis and Beverly when they couldn't qualify on their own, watching the family relationship deteriorate gradually, then coming home to find my stuff in the street and the locks changed. Eugene nodded and made notes on a legal pad. When I finished, he went back to examining the documents, taking his time with each one. When he got to the original mortgage papers and property deed, his eyebrows went up slightly. He studied those pages longer than the others, checking details and cross-referencing information. "Mr. Patterson," he said finally, "according to these documents, you are the sole owner of the property in question." The words hung in the air like smoke from a welding torch. "What do you mean Curtis and Beverly live there? They told me I was helping them buy their house." Eugene turned the deed toward me, pointing to the relevant sections with his pen. "The mortgage was issued in your name only. You qualified for the loan based on your income and credit history. You've made every payment for 15 years. The property tax records show you as the official owner. Your son and daughter-in-law have no legal claim to the house whatsoever. My name was right there in all the important places: borrower, owner, responsible party." Curtis and Beverly were nowhere to be found in the legal language that actually mattered, but they've been living there for 15 years. They act like it's their house. Living in a property doesn't establish ownership. At best, they could be considered tenants, though I don't see any formal lease agreement here. Legally, you have every right to reclaim your property and remove any unauthorized occupants. The satisfaction started in my chest and spread outward. 15 years of being treated like a burden who should be grateful for a place to sleep. 15 years of having my generosity thrown back in my face. And the whole time, they'd been living in my house, eating food I bought, using utilities I paid, in a home they had zero legal right to occupy. What are my options? I asked, keeping my voice steady. You could demand they vacate immediately. You could begin formal eviction proceedings. You could sell the property and force them to relocate. As the legal owner, you have considerable leverage here. Eugene reviewed the mortgage documents again. The loan shows a balance of 0 as of last month. You own the property free and clear. Current market value for a 4-bedroom colonial in that neighborhood would be approximately $485,000. $485,000. I'd been living like a charity case in my own $500,000 house, grateful for the privilege of paying other people's bills. I want copies of everything that proves my ownership, and I'll need you to recommend a good real estate agent. Eugene spent the next hour copying documents and explaining property law. By noon, I had a folder full of legal proof that Curtis and Beverly had been squatting in my house for 15 years. That afternoon, I was sitting across from Shirley Adams at Adams Realty on Fairview. She was a sharp-eyed woman in her 40s who apparently worked Saturdays for clients serious about buying and selling. Mr. Patterson, what kind of timeline are we looking at for this sale? As fast as possible, I want the house listed Monday and showing to serious buyers immediately. She pulled up property records on her computer, nodding as the details filled her screen. This is a nice neighborhood. 4 bedrooms, good condition from what I can see. What about the current occupants? Will they need time to find alternative housing? That's no longer my concern. They're adults with jobs. They'll figure something out. We spent 2 hours going over market conditions, pricing strategies, showing schedules. By 4 p.m., I'd signed listing agreements and arranged for professional photography first thing Monday morning. I'll have the property listed on MLS by Tuesday, Shirley promised. Given current market conditions, I expect serious interest within the first 2 weeks. Perfect. By the time Curtis and Beverly figured out what was happening, their comfortable living situation would already be beyond their control. Sunday morning, I was at Boise Airport with 1 carry-on bag and no particular destination in mind. The ticket agent was helpful when I explained my flexible travel plans. I'd like to book a flight somewhere warm. Doesn't matter where, as long as I can leave today and stay for several weeks. She checked availability while I stood there feeling lighter than I had in years. No schedule to maintain, no ungrateful family expecting me home, no obligations to consider except my own comfort. There's a flight to Phoenix leaving in 3 hours. It connects to Tucson. Both cities have plenty of extended stay options if you're looking for a longer vacation. Phoenix sounds perfect. Book it? The process felt foreign after years of staying close to home, but exciting too. Security lines, boarding announcements, people traveling to places that actually mattered to them. I'd forgotten how good movement could feel when you chose it yourself instead of having it forced on you. 3 hours later, I was stepping off an airplane into Arizona heat that felt like a blessing after Idaho's stubborn spring cold. The resort in Scottsdale was exactly what someone escaping family drama needed: anonymous, comfortable, and completely disconnected from any responsibilities back home. My room faced the desert mountains through sliding glass doors that opened onto a private balcony. The sound of highway traffic was replaced by silence and the occasional call of a desert bird. First thing I did was turn off my phone. Curtis and Beverly would eventually realize something was wrong when they couldn't reach me, but by then the house sale would be rolling and my location would be irrelevant. Let them wonder where I'd gone and why I wasn't available to explain or negotiate. For 6 weeks, I lived like a man who'd been given a second chance at life. I read books by the pool, ate meals without having to justify my choices to anyone, and watched sunsets that painted the desert in colors I'd forgotten existed. Other guests came and went through their own vacation schedules, but I was operating on a different timeline entirely. When my phone finally rang on a Thursday morning, I had 89 missed calls and what looked like a small novel worth of text messages. The numbers told their own story, mostly Curtis, with Beverly contributing her fair share of desperation to the electronic pile. The first few voicemails were confused but demanding. Curtis's voice tight with barely controlled panic. "Dad, call me back immediately. There are people walking through our house taking pictures. What the hell is going on?" Beverly, sharper and more accusatory. "Howard, I don't know what game you're playing, but you need to stop this right now. Call us back." But as the days had progressed, the tone shifted completely. Anger became confusion. Confusion became panic. Panic became something close to terror. Curtis again, hours later. "Dad, please, we can't reach you anywhere. The realtor says she's working for you directly. This can't be legal." "Where are you, Beverly?" Her voice actually cracking. "Howard, this is our home. You can't just sell our house out from under us. We've called everyone we know trying to find you." Mixed in with their desperation were professional updates from Shirley Adams, delivered with business-like efficiency that contrasted sharply with the family meltdown happening elsewhere. Her latest text was particularly satisfying. Mr. Patterson, excellent interest from multiple parties. Young couple ready to close quickly. They love the neighborhood and want to start a family there. Can close in 2 weeks if you approve their offer of $490,000. Perfect. New owners who would actually appreciate the house instead of treating it like something they were entitled to inherit. I responded to Shirley with professional efficiency, authorizing the sale and confirming all details, but the family calls went unanswered. They'd made it clear 6 weeks ago that I wasn't needed in their lives. Time for them to learn what not needed actually felt like when the roles were reversed. The plane back to Boise landed on schedule, and I felt like I was visiting a different city. The taxi ride to my extended stay apartment downtown went smoothly. I'd arranged everything remotely while sitting by that Arizona pool. I was pulling my suitcase from the trunk when familiar voices called my name from across the parking lot. Curtis and Beverly approached like refugees from their own comfortable life. 6 weeks of searching had left visible marks on both of them. Curtis looked like he'd lost 15 pounds, his usually neat appearance replaced by wrinkled clothes and hollow eyes that spoke of too many sleepless nights. Beverly's perfectly maintained image had cracked completely, revealing someone who'd spent weeks facing consequences she'd never imagined possible. Howard, finally, Beverly's voice carried relief mixed with pure desperation. We've been looking everywhere for you. Curtis hung back slightly, unable to meet my eyes directly. Dad, please, we need to talk. Don't sell the house, we can work something out. I set my suitcase down carefully, noting how completely their voices had changed. 6 weeks ago, they'd spoken to me with dismissive authority, like I was some kind of inconvenient relative they were stuck with. Now they sounded like people begging for something they couldn't afford to lose. Work out what exactly? I kept my voice level and professional. What is there to discuss? We drove to every person you've ever mentioned, Beverly said, words rushing together like water through a broken dam. Your old coworkers, the fishing club, even Dolores's sister in Twin Falls. Nobody knew where you'd gone. We were desperate. There was that word again. Desperate. 6 weeks ago, I'd been the desperate one, sitting among garbage bags while they locked me out of my own house. The symmetry was almost poetic. Interesting choice of words. 6 weeks ago, you told me I wasn't needed anymore. You threw my belongings in the street like trash. You changed the locks on my own house, and now you're surprised that I took your advice? Curtis finally looked up, his face showing the kind of regret that only comes from watching your comfortable assumptions crumble in real time. Dad, we made a terrible mistake. We spoke too quickly, acted too harshly. We didn't think. No, you didn't think. The words came out harder than I'd intended. You didn't think about the 15 years of mortgage payments I made. You didn't think about who actually owned the house. You didn't think about consequences. Beverly tried one last manipulation, her voice taking on that tone I'd heard her use with store managers when she wanted special treatment. Howard, you're doing this to hurt us. This isn't about justice. It's about revenge. Revenge? I almost smiled. Beverly, I'm selling my house. My house, which I own, which I paid for, which you have absolutely no legal claim to. How exactly is disposing of my own property revenge? The legal reality hit them like cold water. For 15 years, they'd acted like the house belonged to them, like my contributions were voluntary charity rather than an owner maintaining his own property. The sale closes next Friday, I said, walking toward the apartment building. You have 1 week to pack your belongings and find somewhere else to live. After that, you'll need to discuss housing arrangements with Melvin and Gloria Thompson. They seem like nice people who will actually appreciate owning a home instead of taking it for granted. I left them standing in the parking lot with 6 weeks of panic searching finally over, but their real problems just beginning. Sometimes the best revenge isn't about hurting people. Sometimes it's about letting them experience the natural results of their own choices. They'd taught me that family was conditional, that gratitude had expiration dates, that love could be discarded when it became inconvenient. Turns out I'd been an excellent student. Respect and gratitude can't be demanded, they have to be earned every day. When you treat someone's love like an entitlement instead of a gift, don't be surprised when that gift gets taken away. The biggest mistake people make is assuming that someone who's been patient and generous will always be patient and generous. Sometimes the quietest person in the room has the most power. They're just waiting for the right moment to use it.